Okay, now he's been having some struggles this year. It started up at Yakima at the beginning of the season, tearing some cars up and coming up to Sunset, speed weeks, and he's just had a rough year. He's underneath the umbrella of Colin Weinbarger, Discount Race Car Parts and stuff up there. They're working very, very strong together. He's spending a lot of time and stuff with Colin, learning the ins and outs of some of these, and especially it's a newer car for him.
It's a lot different than the car he was in last year.
Oh, God, by
that being
far.
said, here's my thought process on Ferrando. Stepping up in equipment, stepping up in quality of car, and I think
he stepped up quite a bit.
Big time. I think he's put a lot of expectation on himself to get better faster than what he probably thought. So now he's putting more pressure on himself. He's working with Colin. He's getting all that information from Colin and Scott and Eddie and those guys and putting it in his head, and he's trying to absorb it and put it all together. And you go to as many different racetracks that he's been at, that's going to make it tough for any guy trying to learn a new piece of equipment that is that good. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying we'll be real here on Northwest Dirt News. We'll be real.
Absolutely.
He's been one of those guys this year that's kind of been up against his back to the wall in a sense with the learning curve, and I think the pressure he's putting on himself because he's a guy that likes to be competitive and he's not going to give you an inch.
And I think that's what it is too. Is being able to talk to him in not only at Sunset but up there at the Weinbarger camp. I've actually got to sit down and talk to him and say, hey, look, what's going on? And he'll say, I'm driving over myself. I'm like you said, putting too much pressure on myself. And I think once Colin and Scott and you talk about Eddie Day, kind of setting back and say, okay, hey, look. Do this, relax. You don't have to go out there and win every single race. Just get seat time, learn the car, everything else. It's not that he doesn't have driving talent, because that man is very, very, very good at what he does. Once he relaxes and once he gets that car underneath him,
that's the thing.
Right there, shows top 5. Willamette Speedway, and to have those guys and the competitiveness,
just getting comfortable.
And
that's a big, fast track. That's not something. I mean, you just don't show up at Willamette and win races.
And especially to be top 5. You don't.
Right.
And running with those guys, Jerry Stram, Colin Weinbarger, Yaks, all those guys. You just don't do that.
Right. The interesting thing about this, I want you to listen to the finishing order of this heat race. It was Sam Potter, Sean Maya, Jerry Schramm, Matthew Drager, Gray Ferrando, T.J. Richmond, Sean Gentry, and Lane Zerbin. Remember that heat race finish, okay? So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Heat race number 3, Craig Castle got the win over Steve Moore, John Campos. Listen to the names in this one, okay? You want to talk about a good heat race. Castle, Steve Moore, John Campos, Matt Crafton, okay? You've got Tony Breakall, Bubba Foster, and then at the back you had a couple guys that are, new and kind of really getting still.
So the top 6 were A-listers.
Absolutely.
Not saying that nobody else is.
No, absolutely.
Those are constant, top 2, top 3 A-listers.
Very, very good quality cars, and that
was heat race number 3.
That was heat race number 3.
Good job for Castle.
Now looking at that heat race, you got to think to yourself, man, that's some pretty tough company for anybody in that one.
Right?
Looking at that going, wow, I got the job,
So, looking up at the board, Castle, and then Bubba Foster and everything else. Bubba Foster, a feature winner here last week or 2 weeks ago there at Sunset. Very, very, very fast.
Right, and now again, pay attention close because this is the modified B feature on night number 1. Okay, listen. Breakall wins.
Tony Breakall
got the B feature win.
There you go.
Okay,
how many transfer?
We took 4.
All right.
Okay. Kyle Yak was second.
In a B?
Kyle Yak in a B. That's what everybody said. Kyle Yak's in the B? How that happened?
What?
That tells you. No.
If we just had a camera on us, you could see my face. I'm like, hold on, wait, huh? I had to look at the paper again.
That tells you how competitive these modifieds were at Clare Cup this year. And this was just night number 1. Okay?
He was in the... Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But no, listen to this, because Derek Young, who was fast in the 12, 3rd, Gray Ferrando 4th, Bubba Foster 5th in the B.
Didn't transfer?
Okay. Sean Gentry, Rick Wyatt, C.J. Putnam, Ethan Landers, Tim Archer, T.J. Richmond, Lane Zerbin, and Gary Salachi. Okay? That was your B main.
Bubba Foster. Wow, good.
Yeah.
I tell you, see, right there. It shows transfer spot in the Bs. Gray Fernando in that 13 car is making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just odd to me. Like that, and no offense to anybody else, but Kyle Yak being in the Bs.
Surprise
in second, and then especially Castle and everything else too. But to have Bubba Foster not transfer,
right?
Wow, good job for Greg.
So modified feature, night 1, Weinbarger gets the win, 1.677 seconds over Craig Castle. Castle was second.
Whoa!
Drager, Jerry Schramm, John Campos, your fifth.
Jerry Schramm, top 5.
Top 5.
Good job for that
Fourth
16S
place,
car.
Campos was in fifth. Steve Moore, Kyle Yack finished 7th in the feature. Okay.
Came up from the back.
To finish 7th. And who did he bring with him? Tony Breakall. I'm sorry, we did transfer a little bit more because Bubba Foster finished in the top 10.
Oh, so the top 5 did transfer.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking, man, dang.
Now, Potter, Sean Maya, and that one car, Sean Maya, that kid,
Quick?
yes.
Really?
Absolutely. His kid, that another guy that doesn't have a lot of modified time.
Right.
A late model driver jumping to modified, he says he's having more fun driving this car than he probably ever did in a late model just because of the way they race.
Oh,
he likes
yeah.
the way they race, okay? So we had Breakall, Foster, Crafton was a top 10 car, night 1. Good run for the NASCAR guy trying to make a statement out here on the
Right.
dirt. Potter, Maya, Ferrando, Rick Wyatt, Sean Gentry, Derek Young, Rod McCombs, Ron Berry, and Jimmy Schramm.
So let's talk a little bit about Matt Crafton. I want to take a little break and talk to you. I mean, you got a chance and stuff to go down there and talk to him, right?
Spent some time with him.
So what did he say, about like Willamette Speedway and how his car felt and everything else from night 1 to night 2?
Night 1 to night 2, he said the car was a lot better. Him and crew chief Tim Douglas got together, got to converse a little bit about setup, how to drive the track. From the time they arrived at Willamette Speedway, from the time he looked at the track, he was all smiles. I mean,
Really?
him and Tony Toast both were just like, man,
I love
what
Tony.
a great racetrack.
I love Tony. I can't wait till we get him on the phone too.
These dudes could not wait to get those cars on the track.
I
And
bet.
Clay Daly's been here before, but not since the remodel, so he was pretty excited. But Toast and Matt Crafton, man, like schoolgirls, man. I mean, these guys were just ready to rock and roll. I mean, they came to race, and that's some really good equipment.
So Crafton ran both the late model and the modified. When you talked to him and stuff, what did he say that he liked better?
He just ran the modified.
Oh, did he? I thought he ran a late model too.
But now, talking in our conversation with him, you want to find out about, you get as much information as you can to give to the fans.
Right.
And we did an interview, and we can play that later on. But interesting thing he said to me, and I thought this was cool because this shows you, Matt Crafton's not just a NASCAR driver. He's a race car driver. I said, in all the racetracks you've ever been
Ken
to,
Shader.
yeah.
Right.
And I said, in all the racetracks you've ever been to in your racing career, what's your favorite racetrack? He doesn't hesitate, and he looks at me and says, Atlanta. I said,
Atlanta, Georgia?
I go, Atlanta? That's your favorite? I go, that place is nasty, man. That's got a rugged old surface. It tears tires up. It gets slick. I mean, it starts off super fast. It gets really slick. And I said, why is that your favorite track? He goes, let me tell you why. He goes, that's my favorite track because you go out there on that track on brand new tires and you're running 190 miles an hour, and he goes, and 30 laps in, you're 3 seconds off where you were at just, on new tires. And he goes, you're slipping and sliding, you're trying to hang on the wheel, and when you're driving that car or that truck into a corner at 190 miles an hour, you better be a race car driver to handle it. And he goes, that's why that place is my favorite track. He goes, you got to drive that track.
I love that track. When I used to live back there in Commerce and got a chance and stuff to go to Hampton, Georgia, that's where Atlanta Speedway is there, right there in Hampton. It's so weird to watch it on TV and then to be able to go onto the track. I got a bunch of pictures and stuff I'll post. But before race weekend, it was just absolutely awesome. But the craziest thing is that you go there and you look at the track, and it's a little over a mile and a half, and I think it's like 1.7 or something. But to look at it and then see cars on it, it's absolutely just crazy on how fast they are. And you talk about slippery and lose grip and everything else, and you can actually see their abrasiveness in that track.
Well, and that's what he was talking about. That track just eats tires up, and you fall off the pace super quick.
Quick.
And he says, you're slipping and sliding 190, and he goes, you better be a race car driver. He goes, because that track, he says, it's just fun. I'm thinking, man, that's kind of an extreme idea of fun, but that's what he does.
So did you talk to him a little bit about what his future lies?
He
like in dirt racing or NASCAR? Or?
That's something else I asked him. I said, what's your favorite kind of race car to drive? I mean, I know you've driven, everything there is under the sun to drive. And he looks at me and he smiles and he says, if you gave me all the money in the world to go race cars and said, go buy yourself a race car, go have fun, do what you want to do. He goes, first thing I'm doing is buying me a dirt modified. I mean, he absolutely loves these dirt modifieds.
See, that is just cool. And, it's weird watching them come from like Grand American Modifieds from years and years ago, and then for IMC to pick them up and everything, and to watch the development and like Sport Mods and IMC A Mods and everything else. This is a cool class of cars.
It's getting bigger all the time. They're getting faster all the time. The competition level with the way the rules are set up. I mean, it's a pretty equal playing field, so you're going to have to be, like he says, you got to be a driver.
Right.
And you'll see the cream rise to the top in that modified division. Every now and then a guy will pull something off. We'll talk about that. It happens.
We were talking like when we had Kenny Wallace on too. Talk about car safety and everything else, and he's talking about racking up the deck lid and stuff on it, and getting the car set in, and some of these guys with the sail panels and the roof angles and everything else. And I mean, they're trying to get aerodynamics. And we're talking about how the driver sits so low now in the car, how the the deck is almost eye level, to try to keep that wind and stuff away, for some sort of aerodynamic force into it. Go from a Grand American Modified to
go from a NASCAR truck,
right?
The NASCAR truck.
Oh my God!
To a modified. I mean,
literally was an F-150 out of the. That's crazy.
Pretty crazy, yeah. But he was fun to talk with. I'll give this guy credit. Very down to earth, very humble. Just a lot of fun. He just wants to drive race cars, and he's having a good time doing it. And him and Tony Tost have gotten to be pretty good friends, and he's driving for Tony in the modified division. But it was cool. It was a neat deal to talk to, and we did an interview, and the fans liked it, and he signed a lot of autographs, took some pictures, and just kind of like, hey, come on down.
That's good action.
Cool guy. Yeah, that's a cool guy. A lot like you said, a lot like Ken, very down to earth. Just kind of hang out. But from there, from the modifieds, we moved into the late models. Night one for the Clare Cup, and man, I'm telling you right now, complete insanity because the racetrack on night one, the upper groove, Josh, absolutely wicked fast. If you get your car on the top line, and there was some action up front, and everybody.
I heard night two was a little bit crazier than night one.
Well, that's arguable because night one, that 5 car of John Duty, first time out, he goes out, and let's back up. Let's go to qualifying. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So in qualifying, this was a surprise. Qualifying was a surprise for everybody because something happened in qualifying that you just don't see happen on a dirt track ever. The top 2 qualifiers laid down the exact same time. 15.408.
What?
2 cars turned in the exact same lap time. Those 2 cars were the 91 of Tony Tost and the 30 of Jeremy Shank. Tied for fast time. Now, this is on night 2?
This is night 1.
Oh, night 1.
Night
1. That's why I was so surprised to see Tost come out and just say, and this is where track conditions. Now, I gotta say it. Track conditions made a very big difference, especially for the late models, because it changed a lot from the first group that rolled out.
So was he part of the first group that rolled out?
He was early. Okay. Now, 15.408. Okay, and we're going to talk about this. We'll go through lap times as we go down the qualifying list here. Okay. John Duty was third fast with a 15.498. Greg Walters and Jimmy Schramm's number 22 was fourth fast, 15.268. And listen to this, fifth fast qualifier of the night in the number 31B, owned by Ron Brewster, Kyle Yak.
That's right, because Kyle did drive in that car.
Kyle Yak with a 15.770. Now, as we look farther and farther down the line, okay, remember I talked about the track changing. Fast time was 15.408.
That was for the top 5.
That was the top time between Tost and Shank. They tied. You go down the list. The last place, the last qualifier, 31, Tom Perry, 33T, 31st fast.
Right.
18.207.
Whoa.
You're talking
15, 16, 17, 8. You're talking 3 seconds.
You're talking just almost 3 seconds. 15.408 to an 18.207. Okay.
That's 2 3/4. Holy, wow. That track changed
Big
quick.
time.
31 cars qualify?
31 late models qualified. 4 heat races.
In over 2.5 seconds difference.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was